Hello and welcome to another episode of Breaking Mayberry, the show that tests the purity level on the opiate of the masses. I'm one of your hosts, I'm Marty Schneider.
Fuck, that was a good one. I'm Dan Ludwig.
I've been sitting on it for a little bit.
That's pretty good.
And, Dan, what's up, man?
I just got back from, my homeland of Boston. Or, not my homeland of Boston, my homeland of Massachusetts. I get annoyed when people think I'm from Boston just because I'm from Massachusetts. I got back from where I'm from, and I am, seething with white-hot not necessarily rage, but just disappointment. Can you seethe with white-hot disappointment?
If anyone can, you can.
So I spent my weekend at the Newport Folk Festival, which is an awesome folk festival that I probably shouldn't be telling people about because too many people are going there already. It was good. I got to see Portugal the Man perform. I got to see Phosphorescent perform. Someone I didn't get to see perform, Marty, is Dolly Parton. At the end of every day, like, all the acts from, like, who performed, just get together and just sing, like, Pete Seeger or some shit. And my family got sick of hearing Brandi Carlile sing If I Had a Hammer. So we're just like, do you want to duck out?
What the fuck did you go to a folk festival for then, my dude?
One, it's barely a folk festival. Jack White performed one year when I was there.
Willy Wonka-ass motherfucker.
Jack White played I saw Willie Nelson's kid play a guitar with his face. It was awesome this year. But also, like, I heard Brandi Carlile sing, like, cumulatively, I think 3 hours. Because, like, every single act would be like, and now coming out, Brandi Carlile! And she'd be like, hey, everybody! I still don't totally know who Brandi Carlile is.
Yeah, I gotta be honest, I'm not sure either.
It sounds familiar. She started a band that's the female version of the Highwaymen called the Highwomen. It's not very good, but they played like 800 times. But yeah, at the end of the day, I was listening to Brandi Carlile sing and my family decided to bounce. Basically, I saw the guy from My Morning Jacket sing Rainbow Connection with Kermit the Frog. I was like, okay, this is what they're bringing to the table. And then we got a text after we left, like, Dolly Parton just came out, she's singing Jolene. Oh no, now she's singing 9 to 5. It would be one thing if it was just like literally any other two Dolly Parton songs, but it was Jolene and 9 to 5.
Two of the greatest songs ever written.
Yeah! No, Jolene in particular is an all-timer. I spent my entire trip in Nashville just requesting it over and over again.
I just Googled Brandi Carlile, and the first result for the top stories is, watch Dolly Parton and Brandi Carlile perform I Will Always Love You.
God
So you also missed the third greatest song of all time.
Just so this is my life, because I'm never going to see Dolly Parton perform ever again. Like, tickets for her are like $500 and a finger. Like, it's never gonna happen. This was my one shot, and I blew it because we wanted to beat the traffic.
Let that be a lesson to you. Always suffer.
And Brandi Carlile warned us. She was like, you guys are gonna regret it if you leave early. Not like us specifically, not like she saw us.
She just pointed at your family.
Yeah, just like she was putting an ancient mummy's curse on us, like, you shall regret this. More just she was like, hey, if anybody's thinking of beating the traffic, you're gonna regret it for the rest of your lives. And we were like, fuck you, Brandi Carlile. You've just been singing Pete Seeger for a half hour.
You're not at all related to Belinda Carlisle from the Go-Go's.
No!
Different spellings.
Yeah, I yelled that at the stage. Like, the Go-Go's are distinct and unconnected from you! And then, yeah, like a mummy's curse, it came true, and I just have to bear this chain around my neck for the rest of my days. How was your weekend, Marty?
You need like a scarlet pair of fake breasts to like brand you forever.
Yeah.
Scarlet D's.
A scarlet permed giant thing of blonde hair.
You can't have a scarlet wig.
No.
I mean, because that's a red wig.
Yeah, no. Yours were better.
I I went to a thing that's been like a local Philly area tradition.
It's an institution.
It's an institution at this point. It's called Skeletor Karaoke.
Mm-hmm.
And the deal with Skeletor Karaoke is exactly what it sounds like. A guy dressed as Skeletor who's been doing this for like 15 years now.
Yeah.
Like, is your Gong Show host, and he sings songs about being evil. He wrote an entire parody of Enrique Iglesias' Hero, which is, of course, villain.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't like your shit, he will gong you out. He'll dance with you. If he wants, sometimes he'll punish you and make you sing a different song. He did not like me.
Yeah.
In fact, I would say, like, his deal is to heckle people, but he was just, like, outright, like, fuck this guy. This guy in particular. To be fair, I was very out of place, so we saw this at, the place he normally did it closed down at the Trocadero Theater.
They did it in, like, this creaky little attic in the Trocadero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was his where he loomed. Like, he was the king of that area.
Yeah.
So we went to this at, like, this bar in Wilmington, Delaware. Bar 13 in Wilmington, Delaware.
He's out in Wilmington, Delaware now?
Dude, he's everywhere now. He's touring.
Jesus.
The next show is going to be down the street at World Cafe Live. So Bar 13 is a very weird bar. It's kind of a goth bar. I know they have, like, kink nights there. And this is in Wilmington, Delaware. But
Wilmington, Delaware, a place I'm pretty sure no one's ever had sex.
Yeah. So I was definitely not dressed appropriately for the goth bar.
Mm-hmm.
I was wearing, like, my brightest shirt, my loudest thing.
Of course.
Skeletor called me Zach Galifianakis on numerous occasions, which is just hurtful. And he did not like that I came up to do 1 Week by Bare Naked Ladies.
Okay, yeah, no, you left yourself very exposed for Skeletor to go in.
Oh yeah, no, he went in hard.
You can't give, B&L rules, but also, like,
you
can't give him that kind of exposed stomach.
I have pulled that off before. I did not pull it off tonight. Also, just, like, I underestimated, like, how good their karaoke selection was. Because for me, like, when I think karaoke, I'm like, cheesy songs between the years of, like, 1983 and about 2001.
Yeah.
And no, they were just, like, one guy went up and did, like, Nathan Rateliff's S.O.B.
Yeah.
Nathaniel Rateliff's, which is a song that came out last year. I would never have thought about doing a song that came out last year.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Skeletor, like, flat out said on stage, he was like, I don't like you. Like, you and I don't get along. He made me do Summer Girls by LFO as punishment. And then I came up later in the night, closer to closing time, and tried to do...
You tried again?
I did. I was like, can I redeem myself? And the song I chose to redeem myself was Centerfold by Jay Giles Band, and he just didn't even let that happen.
Oh,
he was just like, get off the fucking stage.
Oh, gee.
And I was like genuinely hurt by this for a little bit, but that was also like, this is a stupid thing to be upset about. Like, it's this guy's job to heckle people. I
mean, Skeletor's gonna go in. Especially, like, Skeletor has been kind of, like, I went to, like... Well, the first one I went to, this was, like, 8 years ago, and Skeletor Karaoke was one of the most brilliant, like, fun things I've ever, like, gone to. And then I went a couple of years later, and I brought a bunch of people. I was like, guys, you gotta see Skeletor Karaoke. It rules. But he'd been doing it for, like, another 5 years. So... Everyone I brought to was like, are you sure this is fun? Because this seems horrible. Because it was like he felt tired. Like,
he's very clearly just doing it for his friends at this point.
Yeah.
And because I'm sure they pay him.
Yeah. Oh, he probably makes, like, solid money. But yeah, like, you can only be Skeletor for so long before you run out of things that Skeletor would say.
So, speaking of, you're going to regret it if you leave at the end. Mm-hmm. If you cut off this podcast before the end, you're gonna regret it.
Dolly Parton won't come to your home. That's right.
That's right. We've got to deal with Dolly Parton to visit all of our listeners.
I sold my soul to Brandi Carlile, devil style, and now we have Dolly Parton in our contract.
My God, dude, you can't promise those things. No, the reasons that you will be upset if you end this podcast before, its full ending is, number one, we have new music. We have new ending music by the Brothers Rye. Thank you very much to the other band, Ask Again / Midair Machine, for letting us use their song forever.
But we're done with you.
We're done. We're done. We've moved on to Brothers Rye, so thank you to them. The song is called Off-Season Blues, and it rules.
Yeah.
So we're very excited for that.
If you are ever in the Cape Cod area, check them out. They play Martha's Vineyard a lot. They're fucking great to see live. They're very fun. Yeah.
And you can check them out on Spotify, Apple Music, and all of the other places that you can get music. And the other thing is, if you stay to the end, listen to the Off-Season Blues, and then at the very end, I'm very excited for this. You may remember a couple of episodes ago, the episode with Grant on it, where we hypothesized the idea that, like, if Barney Fife ever ran for president, he would not accept his loss.
Yeah.
So some of our listeners went ahead and wrote that scenario.
Yeah.
Thank you very much to Patreon subscribers Jack, Royce, and Guts, who went in together and wrote us I guess a fanfic?
Like, I think it technically qualifies as a fanfic.
Yeah, and it's not I love about this is it's not an Andy Griffith Show fanfic. It's very clearly Breaking Mayberry fanfic.
Yeah.
Because it's our interpretation of these characters.
We were not optimistic about the fanfic that this would generate if it ever did. Blew our expectations wide open.
It rules, it rules, it rules. So what we did was we took it and we made another deal with another devil.
Yeah.
Erotic Don Knotts.
An erotic devil.
The podcast dedicated to, well, reading erotica.
It's what it sounds.
It's what it sounds like on the tin.
What's on the book's cover is what's in there.
So, if you stay to the end, after the Brothers Rise song, you will hear the first of, like, 3 or 4 episodes serialized of the Barney Fife presidential saga starring erotic Don Knotts.
Yeah.
We're doing this as an audio play, folks, and what is this? What is our life now?
You know, you just gotta kind of roll with it. I'm pretty sure I've just been disassociating since we started doing this, and I'm just kind of rolling with it.
You've got like an out-of-body experience thing going on.
Yeah, I'm gonna drink a little more.
So let's go ahead and roll into these episodes that we've got for today.
Let's fucking get into it.
They're okay episodes. They're fine.
They exist. One of them made me feel something. That's cool.
Yeah,
it was secondhand sexual frustration, but still.
Today's episode, the first episode we're going to do today is Season 2, Episode 27. Three's a Crowd. Originally airs April 9th, 1962. Written by Charles Stewart and Jack Ellenson. And directed by, let me just squeeze past you there, Bob Sweeney.
Guy who's somehow going through 2 divorces simultaneously, Bob Sweeney?
And here is the one-sentence summary from Wikipedia. Barney keeps interfering with the romance between Andy and county nurse Mary, preventing them from being alone. We should have been introduced by the county nurse by now, but we skipped the episode entitled County Nurse. We'll get to that next week.
We'll double back to it. So
but it
I
doesn't
guess,
matter because
spoiler.
it's a different actress. Like, the actress that plays Mary in this is different than the actress that plays Mary in the other episode.
I mean, honestly, that's fine because this character could not be less of a person.
Yeah, this character, like, just nothing.
Alright, so character traits. Nurse. Blonde.
Yep.
Female.
Uh-huh.
I don't got anything else. She can make pizza?
Yeah, that's
able
kind
to
of a
make
trait.
Pizza.
Kind of a
It's
trait.
not really a personality trait, but it is like, I guess.
It's like a feature.
Yeah. She can make pizza. She's a nurse. She's female. She's blonde. Mostly she's blonde. Like, blonde is like 80% of this.
There's a lot of blonde personality to this, yeah.
Yeah.
So, let's go ahead and let's get into this. The episode pretty much just starts with Andy and Barney at the jail, and the nurse, Mary, comes right on in, and she's like, "Hello, I'm the plot of this episode."
"Hi, I'm Mary." And then Andy's like...
And she has to announce it, right? Because she's a different Mary than the last Mary.
They don't, no one at home watching this at the time cared. They were just like, blonde.
Yeah.
I think she's like gonna be like the only blonde main character. So that's just going to be like her identifying factor.
And so she came in just kind of to say, hey, now she's the county nurse, so like she's traveling along. And she mentioned that she can't stay very long because she's got to drop off some meds. Probably to like some farming family out in the sticks or something.
And also she has to leave now, and it's going to be a big hassle because like a tree fell and a road's blocked off. You think that they're not going to discuss travel in a fictitious county for very long? They do, though. They do talk about the routes that she could take other than I-96. They get into it for a hot minute. And Andy then uses that to transition to like, well, if you need a ride, I can drive you there. It wouldn't really be a problem. To which Barney
Just jumps in, like he nearly jumps over the turnstile or the like gate. And you know, do you need a ride? I can give you a ride. I can do the ride all the time.
Yeah, just teleports in.
Yeah.
So we're gonna I think spend some time figuring out what the living fuck Barney's motivation is in this episode.
I have a theory.
I think I suspect what your theory is. We should probably get a little bit more into what he does first, but
let's get further into it, but then I'll share my theory.
His actions are baffling.
Yeah.
So he immediately teleports, offers to drive her instead for some reason, and then she's like, no, I'll drive myself, it's cool. Andy shoots Barney a death glare. The first of many. I think I probably in the show notes should have cataloged each and every time Andy Griffith, in a surprisingly good piece of acting, looks like he wants to murder a person with his brain.
So good.
Yeah. Andy Griffith is he's awake, he's alive, he is transmitting intense sexual frustration that I'm surprised he's allowed to do on old-timey television.
I think this is the first time on this series that we've seen him just look furious.
Yeah.
Just look enraged.
To the point of violence.
Like irritated before, but this is the angriest we've ever seen him.
Yeah, we've seen him distressed the time that Barney got his keys stolen, but this is the first time he's been pissed, including the time a guy pointed a gun at his child.
Yeah.
That time
he just laughed that one off.
Yeah, that's happened multiple times, and both times he's been like, all right now. You gotta stop being foolish. You gotta cut this out. I'm being stern. And now Barney is preventing him from having sex, and he's like, I'm gonna throttle you. And he goes with plan B, where he's like, well, what you doing tonight? And she's like, I don't really want to go out. And he's like, what if we hung out at your place?
Well, hang on a second. No, first he offers to go see a movie.
Yeah.
And this is kind of key. First he offers to go see a movie, and she's like, I've already seen that movie. This is slightly important to me because it really feels like she is not into him. Multiple times throughout this thing, I'm just like, dude, she is giving you what is pretty clearly like a polite no.
That's the kind of the rule is if you ask a girl if you ask a woman to go out and she doesn't propose an alternate time or alternate plans, she's not into it.
Yeah, she was giving you a polite thing. She's like, I've already seen it. And he goes,
although I've already seen it is, if that's a rebuffing, that's a little bit of a rude rebuffing.
That's one of several things that throughout this episode. So then Andy says, well, what if we hang out at your place? And then she's like, yeah, that's fine. Let's do that. Let's hang out. Maybe I'll make us a pizza or whatever. It'll be good times. And then Barney's like, yeah, it'll be good times. I'm included.
He just, appears. He just appears, Bewitched style. It's actually a really good choice that Bob Sweeney's making, where he doesn't show Barney approach. Just, the camera moves slightly, and Barney's like, I've been here the entire time! I'm here, in this conversation, wide-eyed, unblinking, like a lunatic.
And he says that he bought some new bongos and he's going to bring them in.
The new harmonica.
We moved from the harmonica to the bongos.
It's
much less portable.
A twisted dark god answered our cries for no more harmonicas. Then we said no more harmonica. A monkey's paw curl. Yeah. And it was replaced by bongos. So, and he's like, yeah, so I'll bring Thelma Lou, we'll come to your house.
We'll have a foursome.
Yeah, yep, we'll swing.
Yeah.
We'll come by, I'll bring my bongos, and Mary is like, yeah.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Mary gives no indication that she minds any of this.
Yeah.
Mary's just like, yeah, come on over. Cool, yeah, sure.
Fuck it.
Yeah, whatever. Which makes me think that Mary's not into Andy.
Or Mary, the entire time this is happening, I'm like, does Mary understand how aware is she of what's going on around?
She's not super cognizant of anything.
She is I'm like, does she realize that Andy is trying to make moves? And because it genuinely seems like she's just like, you want to come over to my house and hang out? I see no possible pretense for this. Oh, you want to drive me somewhere? What a kind thing for you to do. She doesn't, it's not that she doesn't seem into it. She's just seems like she's
unaware.
Yeah.
So the next scene is at Mary's house where we're doing some singing. And I don't know what they're singing this time, and Andy's playing the guitar, but all you hear is bongo, 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 like just arrhythmically tapping out those bongo.
Yeah. And honestly, this may be me being a Philistine, but it sounded good.
It was fine.
Yeah.
It was fine. Andy was not, like, thrilled with it. He was like, yeah, those bongos are pretty out of place with this folk song.
And somehow Andy Griffith managed to radiate rage. Like, the screen, it's in black and white still, but the area around him was slightly red.
And I love this bit of acting by Don Knotts, because, like, he's super sweaty, his hair's out of place, and he just delivered this line like, I just thought I would liven it up. There's no rule that says you gotta play a song the same way every time. And I don't know who he's talking to. He's, like, looking off screen. He looks like a madman, and it's amazing.
Why is Don Knotts playing Barney Fife coked out this week? He doesn't blink. He's sweating all the time. He's slightly too close to everybody.
Yeah.
Like, is this the week that Barney Fife discovered coke?
I mean, maybe.
He started doing poppers?
This is definitely another, like, Barney Fife horror villain episode.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
You can't lose him.
No.
He's everywhere.
He's unshakable. I'm pretty sure Don Knotts blinks less in this episode.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, he's creepy.
So Thelma Lou's like, hey, let's go now.
Yeah.
And Barney's like, I don't want to leave. You sure you want to leave? It's going to be real boring without these bongos that I brought.
And Thelma Lou is like, Barney, let's go. And he's like, okay. Not comprehending this at all. Which leads, like, again, the people's comprehension of what the fuck is going on in this episode is very tenuous. It's, like, simultaneously extremely 1960s and also almost, like, Adult Swim-esque.
So, I guess I'll say my theory
Yeah,
now.
drop your
my theory. Barney knows exactly what he's fucking doing.
Okay.
He knows exactly what he's doing. And this a wrench kind of gets thrown into this theory later on. But I think he knows what's going on. He is deliberately getting in the way. Not necessarily because he wants to fuck Mary, but he probably does want to fuck Mary. But also because, fuck you, Andy. We've seen Andy torture Barney for years.
Yeah.
And now Barney's like, I'm going to take my revenge. And I'm going to get in the way. And he's basically daring him. He's like, have a slightly awkward conversation with me, Andy. Do it. Have a conversation that might hurt my feelings. Come on. Do it, bitch. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep coming. I think this shit is deliberate.
So my theory, I have a similar theory. I think Barney is in some weird form of denial about Andy wanting to have sex. Because this is, like, the most sexually explicit episode. Like, not necessarily sexually, but, like, physical romance. Like, in the past, when Andy was, like, hanging out with Ellie, and he was like, let's go on a date. And someone else was like, I want to come. He's like, that's fine for a date. The dates don't require privacy at all. And this is, like, the most sexually explicit because it acknowledges that parts of a date require no one else to be around. Which is, like, it's the closest the Andy Griffith Show comes to acknowledging that people fuck.
Yeah, sure.
So, like, but Barney is in, like, complete denial about that possible element of romance to the point of, like, he's either
fair, so is Mary.
Yeah! Like, it's, okay, so my thing...
It's like Andy's the only one... It's like the plot of the movie Yesterday, except Andy woke up and he's the only person who can remember sex exists.
Yeah! No, it's exactly...
Instead of the Beatles, it's sex.
Honestly...
It's the concept of fucking.
This episode, you know how, especially when you were, like, young, like, teenager to early 20s, you were, like, you needed to invent pretenses to, like, hang out, but, like, how about I just, like, come over your place and study and, like... Oh man, the air conditioning in the living room is broken. I guess we better go up into my room.
Yeah.
And like, it's like that logic where like, if Andy had been like, hey, I want to hang out alone at your place, you'd be like, what are we going to do at my place?
Yeah, and that happens like immediately afterwards because after Barney and Thelma Lou leave, Andy's like, so I was thinking about a picnic, right? You ever been on a picnic? There's a real pretty spot out there. We could go, and Mary's like, yeah, that sounds nice. Let's take your son. Which is indication number 2 to me that she's not into this.
But then, no, but also, why would she want him to bring his fucking son? That's like, no, I disagree, because it's be like, oh, I'm not into you. Introduce me to your child. Like, let's get your child to imprint on me as a mother figure. I'm not digging this.
Okay. It seems kind of like asexual to me, though. Like, she's just like, look, another human being. Bring more human beings, because I don't really want to be alone with you.
It's something. It's weird. It is definitely like Andy Griffith is the only one that understands that there is such thing as physical intimacy.
And it makes this scene real creepy. Because he, like, maneuvers, like, to sit next to her, and...
He moves couch parts so that she only has the option to sit next to him.
Yeah, like, he takes the middle seat, so no matter what, she has to, like...
Yeah.
And
then he puts a pillow in place so she can't sit on his, like, left side, she has to sit on his right side, where, oh, look what's there, my arm.
And I realize that none of these behavior is, like, necessarily creepy if you do it, but it's just, the way he comes across while doing it is just slimy.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't matter because immediately the doorbell rings and Barney comes charging back in.
Yeah.
Like Jason Voorhees. Like famous for ringing doorbells, Jason Voorhees.
Famous for using doors. Nah, if he was Jason Voorheesing, he'd be circling the property, cutting the power lines. Which honestly for this episode,
possibly
not unreasonable.
Yeah. So Barney comes back and he starts to eat the pizza. He's like, "Oh, you got pizza here. What is this, mozzarella? I love that mozzarella." And this is the scene that makes me think that Barney's like in on this, because he like shoots Andy like a nod and a smile, and it's practically a wink.
Yeah,
like the look he gives him is just like, fuck you, come on, motherfucker. He's daring Andy to have an awkward conversation.
He is okay. So this entire episode, if a person did 30% of this episode to me, they'd be dead to me for at least a while. If someone did all of this episode to me, I'd kill them. I'd straight up, like, if one of my closest, dearest friends did this entire episode to me, I'm not saying that it's like I'd make a decision, like, my body would take over, and I'd throttle them.
Hey, Dan, do you have any dates planned this weekend? I'm just wondering.
You will never again know the contents of my social life. You will. Maybe I have a girlfriend. Maybe I'm celibate. You'll never find out. So we've only touched on the beginning, but already this part, Andy should have just like had this awkward conversation of like, man, come on, I'm trying to do some shit here. Which isn't even that awkward of a conversation. Just like, that's like a high five conversation. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So should we just skip to the part where he does that? Because basically the next scene is just the same thing again.
He tries again. He does another date, and this time he's like, Barney, you can't come. You have to stay here at the office and file. They do actually a pretty funny bit of Don Knotts calling him repeatedly about filing questions, as Andy Griffith again gets so mad. Which is, like, doing a really job of getting mad, to the point that, and they also, like, make the inexplicable decision to see Mary get scared by how mad Andy is. She's like, is this okay? Am I safe?
Oh, no.
The man I'm alone with is screaming into the phone.
I should also mention, like, this starts off with, like, again, it's the same date. He's just playing the guitar and singing to her. And it's such a weird acting choice. He's in a full suit. And it's the first time we've ever heard Andy sing something that isn't, like, a folk song.
Yeah.
But the actress's name is Sue Ann Langdon, and it's such a weird decision that she makes. I think for a second, like, the actress might forget what's going on, but women who listen to this podcast, please go and watch this episode and watch this scene, because there's a moment where her eyes just kind of drop and she stares off at the floor for a little bit, and it's definitely oh, you're still going. Oh, there's another verse to this song. Like, look.
Yeah.
She just, like, stares off like, okay, we're good. I'm just smiling politely at this point.
We should actually throw out, like, the community poll. Women who listen to our show, drop us a line and let us know if Mary is at all into this, because it is a fucking puzzle that eludes me.
Yeah, I'm thinking she's not.
I don't think she... I think she's ambivalent. I think she could kind of take this situation or leave it. I think her predominant feeling is like, this date passes the time. His ears are slightly too big, but he has a good singing voice. Fuck it, I could do worse.
So finally, the next day, we have that conversation. And from this moment in the episode, it pretty much throws a wrench into everything we just said.
Yeah, your theory kind of falls apart here.
Because they have that conversation. There's a pretty funny bit. Andy dances around the subject, and he's like, hey, we've been spending a lot of time all together. Don't you think it's time that maybe we spent some time alone? And Barney's like, yeah, you're right. He picks up the phone, he calls Sarah to call Thelma Lou, and says, hey, Thelma Lou, I can't be out tonight. Andy and I are going to spend some time alone. And he hangs up and goes,
insane!
What are we doing tonight? Which, again, it's
a very good joke,
it's
but
a good
what?
joke. It's a good joke, but it's absolutely, like the same way that you would fuck with somebody. Like, you would fuck with me this way.
Yeah.
You would absolutely do this.
I have fucked with you this
absolutely
way.
Have. And then it finally forces Andy to just be like, oh my god, that's not what I meant, man.
Yeah.
What I meant was I want to spend some time with Mary alone. There's some things I want to say to her alone. I want to be alone with her. Do you get it? And Barney's like, yeah, I get it. And Andy leaves and Barney goes, he's gonna pop the question. He's gonna propose to her. So,
if he hadn't said that line with no one else in the room, I would say that your theory is 100% correct, because he'd be like, yeah, enter phase 2 of plan fuck Andy. Enter phase 2 of the cock blockening. Because it would be a perfect, brilliant scheme. But he says that, so like...
Unless it was more like, oh, he's gonna propose to her.
He's like...
I'm gonna make sure.
He's doing like the lace finger, like the finger tapping, like...
Yeah.
Yes.
He's going.
He's going to propose. Actually, I'm back on board now.
Yeah, because like, immediately, like, it took me a second. I had to, like, rewind to figure out how much time had passed. Like, on his lunch break, he goes to Thelma Lou, and he goes to Aunt B. He just blabs immediately, hey, did you know that Andy's going to propose?
Yeah. Okay, even in a world where this is not a bug fuck assumption of just like, hey, this girl that I've been dating for, like, 2 seconds, who isn't even technically my girlfriend, who I haven't even, like, kissed, I'm gonna marry her? Even in a world where that's not a fucking insane thing to think... imagine someone in your life, like, is going to get married, and before they actually get engaged, you tell everyone in their life that it's going to happen. That is, like, such an insane, over-the-top personal violation. Like, that's the kind of shit that, like, people get excommunicated from families for.
Yeah.
Like, there are Irish families that don't talk to one of their brothers because they did this shit.
According to the ultra-reliable Mayberry Wiki, this is the first time that Barney assumes, they even put assumes in quotation marks, assumes that Andy is getting married and causes trouble based on said assumption. This would be a common plot device throughout the series.
Wonderful. Oh, great.
We're gonna get more of this.
Fucking wonder. Because this one made me feel so good.
So he spreads the news all over town. Because I think this is phase 2 of fucking with Andy. Because I think his whole plan is just, Andy's messing with me so hard, I'm gonna make sure he never has sex again.
Yeah. I'm going to ruin the concept of sex for Andy. It is kind of a beautiful, diabolical speech. I'm coming around. I'm on board with your theory.
Okay, so he tells Thelma Lou and he tells Aunt B.
Who cries?
Yeah,
Who is so emotionally moved by this moment. Like, she's like, Andy's getting married? He's getting...
Except they...
Oh my god, I'm freaking out. Like, he is doing actual emotional damage to Aunt B right now.
And like, Andy comes back from, I guess, lunch or whatever, because all this happened in the span of an hour, and Thelma Lou, like, walks up to him, and both Thelma Lou and Aunt B act like they just learned that Andy has leukemia.
Yeah.
Like, they walk up to him, they're like, oh, hello, and they like
Just
whisper,
run-
and they hold him tightly, and they give him a kiss on the cheek, and they like pat him, and they run away.
Super weird.
It's
Especially
very weird. Especially
less
Thelma Lou.
weird for Aunt B. Super weird thing for even in the context of what she thinks is happening. An insane thing to do.
Yeah.
Like Andy should have immediately walked into the jail and be like, "Man, Barney, we gotta talk. The woman that you're trying to cheat on a pretty regular basis just kissed me. I think not on the lips, but it was without any context or words spoken, so it's weird. So I guess you gotta go talk to her. It's probably fine, but you gotta go talk to her."
Yeah, that was a weird thing to happen, but instead, Andy's just like, huh, maybe people have a cold?
Yeah.
I don't know. What the hell? Like, I better not investigate this at all. I'm a good sheriff.
Yeah, I have no follow-up questions why everyone is acting like I'm about to die.
Yeah. So all he can focus on is that he's gonna go to Mary's that night. They're having a nice dinner, and
also, if those two events, if Thelma Lou and Aunt B kissing me like that had happened, like while almost crying, coming up and kissing me on the cheek, and then followed by Barney walking in doing a very weird face and just comes up and just like shakes his hand.
that's right, he does like a handshake and then walks away.
I would assume that as soon as I walk out, I'm about to get Shirley Jackson the lotteried.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I would assume that I would, like, walk out and the entire town would be lined up in front of me and they would just start throwing... Like, I assume I'm about to be ritualistically sacrificed.
Don't get in any boats, I would say.
Yeah.
Like...
It's definitely, like... That was extremely, like, you're about to fucking die.
Yeah, no, it's super, I knew it was you, Fredo.
Yeah!
Like,
Oh, the face that Don Knotts does as he's shaking his hand, hate it. I hated seeing it.
It's a face you make when you put a hit out on your best friend.
Also combined with Don Knotts' atrocious posture, Don Knotts really...
It's super weird. He's like very hunched, like his shoulders are just up to his ears essentially in this one.
Yeah,
Like,
it's really bad. Do you think he, like, I can't tell if it's Don Knotts making a conscious acting choice, which must have really done permanent damage to his body, or if Don Knotts was like...
this had scoliosis?
Yeah!
Like, I don't know.
There's something wrong with that man's body. Is it like malnutrition from the war?
So they're having a nice dinner, and they're alone, and they're really emphasizing the fact, like, yep, I talked to Barney, we won't be bothered, no one's gonna come. Smash cut to Barney and Thelma Lou and the whole fucking town, except for Opie, who isn't in this episode.
Yeah, no, they were like, this is the sexy episode. We can't have Ron Howard anywhere near this.
But they're
can't get all this puberty all over him.
But they're planning. All right, so we're gonna give them an hour. That's enough time to pop the question. Then we're gonna run in and surprise them. Have a surprise, because everyone wants to see everyone they know 15 minutes after getting engaged.
Yeah, no, definitely. Also, going on the hardcore assumption that she's gonna say yes.
Yeah.
This woman that they just met, that Andy has never introduced to any of them, is definitely 100% about to say yes, she will marry him. Which might be normal.
I don't know. Who knows how the shit goes?
1960s. I don't know. If so, crazy.
Yeah.
I'm wondering was this less insane by time relevant standards?
I feel like not. I feel like this was definitely insane no matter what.
Yeah.
So Andy decides to say that, hey, let's go for a drive, and they drive to a very wonderful moonlit matte painting of a lake.
Yeah.
Just a beautiful mural that they're standing they've parked in front of.
A great Bob Ross painting.
Yeah. So they're out there, and Barney brings his gang of like 30 people with all these like picnic things.
His swarm! He rounds up a posse, he builds a caravan, and he lays siege to Mary's house. He's like, when they're going up to the house, he's like, do serpentine so the machine guns can't get you. Like, he's doing attack patterns like they're the buggers in Ender's Game.
He's SEAL Team 6's this shit.
Yeah!
Like, but they're like armed with buckets of potato salad.
Yeah! He's like, they might get some of us, but 90% will eventually breach their bunkers. I mean...
And have a picnic.
Yeah! It's crazy. So, they go on a drive, and Barney bursts through the door, and everyone's like, what the hell, Barney? Everyone's like, what the hell, Barney? Are you full of shit? And he's like, no, I'm trustworthy. And they're all like, no follow-up questions. Let's go.
He's like, they were here. He like points at the dinner. He's like, look, they were here. We're on the trail.
Yeah.
This candle was recently burnt.
And just as they're
This food is still warm.
As they're walking out, one of the farmers is like, so do we have nothing going on today? Or like, do we not have plans ever?
And so they, like, I guess wander into the woods.
Yeah, they're just like...
because what's happening is we go back to Mary and Andy in the car, and, like, he's just about to do something, and then all of a sudden, this is, again, horror movie.
Yeah!
Just Barney appears out of nowhere. I found them!
They're having, like, a legitimately romantic conversation. It is, like, a point in terms of Mary being, like, at least eventually becoming into it, because she does seem to be like, this is a nice night. We're all alone. And he's like, yeah, we are. There's no one for miles. And she's like, yeah, there's no one for miles. And then they start to kiss. And then she goes like, what the fuck was that? And then you just hear Barney go like, I found them! I found them!
Again, very horror movie, right?
Yeah!
Like, it's a couple in the middle of the woods. They're making out. And all of a sudden she's like, oh, what did I just heard something. And
like, for at least 1 second, Mary was like, you have your gun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, that's every urban legend. And then Barney pops out of the wood. I found them! And then, like, a whole bunch of people...
Zombie style!
Just swarm.
Attack
this car.
And just start, like, grabbing Andy and, like, shaking his hand and just, like, shaking Mary. And, like, Andy's just like, I'm upset. Mary is like, I don't know what's going on, but this is fine. And she should be like, oh my god! Like, she should be, like doing that thing where you put your car keys in your hand Wolverine and just clawing at people.
And finally they kind of just give in. They're having a big old party. Finally, Andy's just like, you know, very, very clearly getting affirmative consent. Andy is just like, look, we're clearly not getting any space alone. Do you mind if I court you in public? And she's like...
If you read in the sexual subtext of this, it's such a gross sentence.
You want to go dogging? And no, she was just like, yeah, you can do that. And he's like, do you mind? Would like to kiss you right now? She's like, sure. I don't think anyone's paying any attention to us anyway, because they're just having a party around the car now. Her
justification isn't like, sure, I like you. It's like, I don't think it would have any consequences. So yeah.
And then I was expecting just like a quick little like small kiss and then fade to black. No, they fucking go at it.
Tongues, like cross lips, man. Like,
and that's like for a good 4 or 5 seconds, and like it goes down and just like while they're tonsil deep in each
Sweeney,
each other,
fade out,
and then boom, directed by Bob Sweeney.
Yeah. Some light over the pants stuff happened.
Fucking pervert, Bob Sweeney.
Yeah. So this is the most sexually frustrated I've been by an episode of television ever, which is actually kind of giving the episode some credit. It is a extremely accurate simulation of like trying to have sex in high school.
We have a word for when you're so hungry that you get angry. Is horngry? No.
Horngry?
No, that would be hungry. That's hungry and horny, which have also been. Hornger.
Furoused?
Ooh, I like that one.
Yeah, no, it's like, so you just replace, like, Barney with just, like, 80 other people, and this is pretty similar to what it's like to try to have sex in the suburbs. Just constantly someone's popping in, like, what's going on?
Yeah.
I wanted to murder, like, the first time I watched this, I wanted to murder Barney with my hands. Like, also, Andy could have averted this with just a very literal, serious conversation of, like, I guess I have to explain sex to you now? My coworker, I didn't see my day going like this. I thought I would probably have to do this to my child first, but sometimes people want to be alone and not with their cousin also there. This supports my theory that Barney and Thelma Lou have never had sex.
You want to do ratings for this episode?
Yeah, let's do ratings for this episode.
Barney meter. Or no, it's Andy meter.
Andy meter.
How good is this episode?
It has points of being legitimately funny. It genuinely made me, like, feel something that I don't think I've felt from another episode of television. Like, I did feel secondhand sexual frustration from, I think, mostly Andy Griffith's acting.
Yeah.
And the almost, like, absurdist structure of the world around him where no one understands what intimacy is. I'm gonna put it at, like, a 7 or an 8. It's ridiculous, but it's kind of ridiculous in, like, an almost, like, postmodern way.
I'm gonna say it's a 7. I got enough laughs out of it. It's not one of the all-timers that we've seen, but, like...
It's kind of, as in terms of a literal sequence of events, it does not make any sense, and no character behaves in a way that is at all, like, rational
or like
in character.
Congruent with everything else we've seen of them.
But in, like, a Thomas Pynchon, like, this is a simulation of an experience that we have built a story around, it's exceptional. Like they have perfectly simulated just being frustratingly horny.
I'm gonna say no fifes on this one. Maybe 1 fife. Like, because it's not gross. It's just weird.
I feel like there's probably some bad dating stuff that we didn't really have time to figure out.
Yeah, I would say that, like, I still don't think Mary's fully into it. I think she was just worn down. I think she just gives in by the end.
I think he did the thing of, like, well, you ask 10,000 times, and eventually they give up, and then realize that they like you after they've given up. Like the story that, like, Hank tells on Breaking Bad. Yeah. It was, like, romantic at the time, but then we're like, it's not great. So I guess there's probably that, which not terrible, not great. And then there's also grossly inappropriate violations of privacy, which, like, doesn't inspire any outrage in me. So I won.
Yeah, I get a 1-5. Okay, so there's a double header. The next episode we have is Season 2, Episode 28, The Bookie Barber.
Yeah.
It originally airs 1962, April 16. Apparently I decided to do that a backwards date this time. And is written by Harvey Bullock and R. Alan Safian, who we haven't seen before.
Mm-hmm. That's a cool fucking name.
It's a great name.
I have no other thoughts.
And is directed by the human equivalent of Socks Under Birkenstocks, Bob Sweeney.
His family is doing an intervention to get him to stop wearing paperboy hats, Bob Sweeney.
Oh, man. If you look behind you, you'll notice that I actually own a paperboy hat now.
Overall, I'm neutral on paperboy hats. I tried to pull one off for about... it's actually... So, I'm on WikiKeys for some activism I did in college, which I'm fine with. It's a Republican database of of socialists and activists. I would be proud of this, except it was during the period in my life where I was trying to pull off the paperboy hat, and I could not pull off the paperboy hat.
Little Yenta tweeted something today that she was like joining the DSA just so she could run for steering committee and ban paperboy hat from DSA.
No. I think you have to be over 30 to rock a paperboy hat.
I am over 30, and what happened was I've been putting this off for a long time. It's just sometimes you pick up a hat and you go, this is a stupid fucking hat. Yeah. And then you put on the stupid fucking hat as a joke and you go like, oh shit, I look good in this stupid fucking hat. Yeah. I guess I have to buy this stupid hat now.
No one under 30 is allowed to wear a paperboy hat, which someone should have told me when I was in fucking college. Like, there should have just been, like, a person whose job it was at Temple to prevent you from wearing stupid hats. Because there was also a guy who was trying to wear, like, one of those 1930s, like, straw hats that you wore at, like, a pie eating competition. And someone should have helped that poor boy.
The dean of, like, basic fashion.
Yeah! Just somewhat like a school advisor, but from preventing you from making catastrophic fashion decisions.
So here's the one-sentence summary from Wikipedia. Floyd lets an out-of-town barber rent out his shop, but the new tenant turns out to be running an illegal gambling operation.
Yeah.
We've introduced a new crime to the city.
Gambling, which honestly, I'm a little surprised they haven't busted out before, since it's a pretty, like... It's the perfect crime for the Andy Griffith Show because it's completely harmless and, I guess, just easy to do. They can't do murder or anything, so it's just been moonshining and pickpocketing.
So the episode opens up with Aunt Bee and Opie walking into the jail, and they're arguing about something, and Opie's just like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to. Can we ask Pa? And Andy's just like, what is going on here? What don't you want to do? And
it's not like I have a job or anything. Go for
And Aunt B just says, he doesn't want to get a haircut, and I think it's time for him to get one. And Opie's argument is like, I can still see. There's no hair in my eyes. I don't need a haircut. And Andy's like, yeah, I guess that's one way to tell if you need a haircut. You know what the other way to tell if you need a haircut is? Your Aunt B tells you. Boom! Slam! And...
yeah, fuck you, child.
And then Opie's like, well, I don't want to get a haircut because then the hair falls on the back of my neck and makes me itchy. And Andy's just like, you can take a bath, you filthy heathen.
You idiot child.
Yeah, you can take a bath and wash it off.
It's mild discomfort, you moron.
And Opie's like, I gotta take a bath too? What the hell? Today sucks. Dennis the Menace is having a terrible day.
Illiterate little shit.
I
wonder if he's still illiterate. Probably not anymore.
I saw Solo.
Huh?
Kind of indicates that he is.
Oh, wait. You see the movie Solo?
Yes. Oh, I thought we were talking about Ron Howard.
Oh, no, Jesus! No, Opie, he was illiterate in the first season. I used to call him an illiterate little dipshit all the time. But that's coming down hard on Solo. You're going to get us yelled at by some weirdo on Twitter still fighting that battle.
No one liked that movie.
Yeah.
So they go to the barber shop.
Floyd is dying. He's in the middle of giving Barney a haircut, but he's just like stressing out because like he's so overbooked and he's got like 2 or 3 people waiting. And Barney's giving him shit like, you're rushing through my haircut, what the hell? And the phone rings, and like he yells at the person on the phone, like, no, I can't get you in right now, come back this afternoon. Yeah, so he's drowning in customers. He's like cutting people's hair while on the phone and yelling at them to not come so early.
Finally, Barney gets up and he's like, what the hell, dude? My sideburns are still not right.
Yeah. And this is like the first time Floyd's ever really like come back and be like, your ears are different sizes. Like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, you're a mutant. I can't make your sideburns right because you got a shitty idiot head. Get the fuck out of my store.
And so enter Andy and Opie. Floyd kind of does like the claw from Liar Liar. He's like, yeah. I'm worried that if I keep doing this so fast, I'm going to get Barber's claw. Like he's worried that his hands are going to lock up in like scissors position.
Yeah. Which, I mean, this is the price of having a monopoly in the town. Is
man.
You have to work a bunch.
Yeah, man. This is what you get.
Yeah.
Just like, I don't know, dude, use a calendar.
Yeah, just have people call in advance. And then schedule for the day. Don't have like all walk-ins.
Whatever, so...
yeah, so he does that, and he's, like, complaining a whole bunch.
There's a little bit of banter between Barney and Andy about the sideburns, and the ear joke happens again. That joke was real funny the first time. Let's do it again.
Yeah. The specific joke is like, your ears are different sizes.
Yeah. So, Floyd is giving Opie a haircut. Opie's, like, complaining about getting a haircut, and Floyd's all like, just you wait. I'm going to give you many, many haircuts. You're going to deal with this your whole life now, sucker. Enter this dude, like, his name is Bill Medwin, is the name of this character.
It's the most, just guys, give them a name that is at all distinct. Remember that guy whose name was Fergus?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, can you bust out another Fergus so I can tell these motherfuckers apart?
And this guy walks in with, like, the most suspicious story. He basically comes in straight out of Guys and Dolls, and he's basically like, yeah, see? I just came in from the bus, and there's nothing suspicious about me at all.
He's a Dick Tracy villain.
Yeah. It's so ridiculous. So I happen to be a barber myself, and I was wondering if you needed some help around here. I'll set it all up on commission. You don't have to pay me. We'll have a 2-chair shop. It'll be easy peasy lemon squeezy, eh?
Yeah. Be a shame if you missed customers because you didn't have enough chairs here.
Great shop you got here. Be a shame if something would happen to it. Like, it's basically...
yeah.
Like, it's the most obvious shakedown you can possibly make, but Andy comes in and he's like, hello, I'm the sheriff.
This is all benign.
Yeah, I have no problem. And he actually encourages it. Like, Andy actually says, like, Floyd, this would be great. You could have 2 chairs, no waiting.
Which is the name of our competition.
Yeah. I'm naming things poorly today. There actually is a, like, official, not unofficial, but there actually is a, like, actual Andy Griffith fan podcast. called Two Chairs, No Waiting.
Yeah.
It's hosted by a guy named Alan Newsom, who someday we're going to meet, probably at, like, Mayberry Days or whatever.
He might kill us.
I feel like I kind of want to hang with this guy. He's so weird.
We've made a game of mocking his life's work. He's the guy that has a dedicated Andy Griffith genuine fan podcast about how much he likes the show.
Oh,
he has like Eleanor Donahue and people on.
Oh yeah, no, he's been doing this for 10 years. He's a big deal in this community. And like they actually gave him a medal.
Yeah.
The city of Mount Pilot, that has the Mayberry Days, gave him an award as he was dressed up like cosplaying Floyd the Barber.
We can never meet him. He'll kill us. I've talked a lot about people that like the Andy Griffith Show killing us. Mostly it's been a joke. He would 100%, I don't know why it's a crossbow, but he'd shoot us with a crossbow.
In a way, I'm sure that this guy is the weirdest human being on the planet, but in a way, I kind of I respect him.
Oh,
I respect the hell out of him for building this community and maintaining it over the better part of a decade.
Yeah. But we can never meet him. This is like a self-preservation thing. I don't want to die. And we're enemies. I respect him, but we are anti the Andy Griffith Show. But season one...
We were on the fence for season 1. Season 2 set us over.
Yeah, no, we are, it's just our lot in nature. He is a mongoose and we are cobras. We are destined to fight forever. And eventually we will kill each other in this. Also, he is, so much bigger than us, so I wonder if we're even vaguely on his radar.
I have no idea. Yeah. We will be once I make us join the Andy Griffith Show Rerun Watchers Club. I'm still going to do it.
You've been talking about that for a year and a half. You've been talking about that for longer than we've been doing the podcast.
Anyway, so this guy walks in, and he now becomes a barber. This is the second time that Floyd has just hired somebody to work in the shop with no, follow through at all. He sputters. He does this, I'm weird. I'm so nervous. I don't know what to do about this.
The character's whole thing is anytime he has to make a decision, he has a stroke and shits his pants. He's Floyd, what do you want to do? He phases in and out of existence. Quado from Total Recall grows out of his chest and then dies. And he's just yes! Oh, God! Don't ask me questions. It causes me physical pain.
You've actually got this written here that Floyd is doing some weird acting.
He's going nuts. The actor is, definitely asking questions in between takes of, what is my deal? What? Guys, I've been doing this for 2 seasons now. What is Floyd's deal? And Bob Sweeney's just shut up. We're almost done. Just go.
So I guess that's the end of this scene. Couple days later, a new customer, the biggest fucking, mafia dude you can imagine, comes in.
Just another dude that does not have a chin, but not in terms of it being concave like Don Knotts. His head just extends out of his neck, and almost like a tube of cookie dough.
It's like a human form of the big red monster from Looney Tunes, Gossamer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so Floyd is standing outside, just welcoming men into his shop, oh, come in.
Yeah.
Tells Barney and Andy that this new barber not only does haircuts, he does shampoos for 85 cents. He does facials for $1.50.
Facials.
Yeah.
He's giving a bunch of people facials.
Yep, he's giving all the facials. It's supposed to make your face better, is the way that Floyd puts it.
Face, just not your skin better, just fixes up your face.
Yeah. This giant man who's full of pimples and pockmarks walks out.
This Edward James Olmos looking motherfucker.
Yeah, and Floyd's how are things going? Fine. And he just walks away.
Yeah.
But that guy had a facial.
And Barney and Andy are wonder what he looks like before his facial. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, this dude is very ugly.
And Andy and Barney are no follow-up questions. This is really an episode of no follow-up questions.
Until the next scene, which is, I guess, the next day, where they're wandering around and Barney and Andy see the same 3 dudes go back into the barber shop. Andy's like, that's weird. Who goes to the barber shop twice in 2 days? And the answer is you, Andy.
Yeah, that's where you all just hang out.
Yeah.
But, okay, now that I'm thinking about it, this could not be a worse front for a thing that people need to go to multiple times
regularly.
on a regular basis. Because, like, they did pick a once-a-month thing.
Yeah.
And gambling requires constant participation.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they could have done literally anything else, but they picked the one thing in the town that, because they went to the place where the sheriff was like, hey there, I'm Andy Griffith. I hang out here all the time.
My shop is across the street. They could have probably, bullied Fred Goss into doing it. People go to the cleaners all the time.
Yeah. No, great. Fred Goss would have been like, that's cool. Are any of you guys cheating on your wives?
Yeah, I mean, the problem would be that Fred Goss couldn't keep his mouth shut, and eventually they'd have to kill him.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah, that's a net win for you and I.
That would rule. We never have to see that horrible character on screen ever again. I bet he's going to get 4 episodes just devoted to his adventures.
So anyway, I guess, Barney misunderstanding psychology and mispronouncing things is going to be a regular recurring gag.
Yeah.
Because he figures maybe those gentlemen have, OCD. They have a compulsion.
Yeah.
They got that compulsion disorder. Some people got, a hand-washing compulsion. These folks got a haircut compulsion.
And that's the joke. Andy's just like, they got what now? Compulsion. Okay.
Yeah.
Moving on. They don't do, he doesn't do, a pun off of it. He's just like, hey, audience, this guy doesn't know words. It's such a shitty, lazy bit that I probably have liked on, Parks and Rec. That's Andy's whole deal.
Yeah. And so, inside the, gamblers give us, the amount of, exposition that we need. They tell the audience that this is a gambling front. Can't believe you're running a gambling front out of this barbershop.
And
since you got run out of town.
Another guy personally is this the gambling front?
Yeah.
Is this the place where I come to gamble? I'm here to drop off. I've been running bags of money all over the state. I'm here as part of your gambling ring to drop off the money. All right, I'm gonna leave. I have nothing else to say to you guys, my coworkers and friends. It's just a bunch of dudes doing exposition at each other. It's horrible.
Oh, you think that's bad? The next fucking scene.
What's the next fucking scene,
The next
Marty?
fucking scene is third-party exposition. The next scene is Aunt B for 10 minutes reciting gossip that she heard from Sarah, the telephone operator, who is apparently just bugging the whole town.
Yeah! This is definitely, I don't know if illegal, but something like it.
Yeah. So basically, Sarah is overhearing conversations because she's the telephone operator. I don't think we'll ever see Sarah.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, that's fine. And so she told Aunt B all this information, and Aunt B is now relaying it to Andy forever.
I will say, this is a solid joke about fucking. This is it's not a filthy joke. It's for the Andy Griffith Show. Fucking raunchy. This is by the Andy Griffith Show standards. This is Howard Stern, where it's just basically her saying so this guy has a lot of dates with a lot of different girls. And she's describing what she thinks is the girls this guy is seeing, but in reality, it's horses that he's bet on. And it's he was seeing someone called Old Mary who was too fast and stuff like that.
Yeah. Lindy Lou was supposed to come in at 10-1, but she never even showed. And, supposed to go to her place.
Yeah. So...
And Andy's show place? Where are those words
So
going?
what Andy Griffith... what Aunt B thinks she's doing is so Andy, this guy that just moved to town, let me tell you about all the nuts he's busting. That's what she thinks she's doing, of so this guy, he's blowing loads. And all these women are sluts, Andy. There's a fucking sex maniac in town. I'm not upset.
Another one! Besides me!
I'm going to fuck him! It sounds like he's really good at it, Andy. Yeah, no, that's what Aunt B thinks she's doing, is just like, let's drop some hot goss about this guy and his fucking.
So back to the jail, Andy calls Barney in and is like, hey, so that's a gambling ring. And Barney's like, well, we gotta go shut that shit down. Like, he's ready to go, he wants to go tear gas the fucking shop.
He's like, I'm gonna bust out the tear gas. We're going to need mortars.
Like, he's ready to pull out a raid on the fucking barber shop across the street. And then, Andy's like, well, we don't really have any evidence of this yet, so we can't do that.
He's not at all like, no. Like, he's not like...
He doesn't say we shouldn't do that. He says, wait.
Yeah.
We'll do that in a minute. So Barney's like, well, we could send someone undercover. And so one of the people he suggests to go undercover is an old lady, and he suggests Emma.
Which, thank fucking God she doesn't come back.
And I was like, oh my God, we've gone so long without Emma.
Do you think that she's got to be dead?
Oh, she's probably dead.
Yeah. I think we're safe. I think it's over. I think the national nightmare is over of us having to hear Emma's voice.
R.I.P. Cheerio Meredith, which was her actual name.
Gone, but unfortunately never forgotten.
Yeah. And so Andy's like, well, we can't use that because, like, so much shit could go wrong. You can't endanger a civilian. So Barney's like, well, how can I Bugs Bunny this shit up?
Yeah. So Andy just, like, leaves. He just goes somewhere.
He's just like, well, this conversation's done.
All right.
Bye.
So I've just kind of left a loaded handgun on the table for you. So in typical Andy Griffith fashion, peace.
Yeah.
This is actually, I think, the most illegal thing that has happened on the show. Similar to the last...
You've said this so many times.
It's a hot streak of one-upping. But you remember how, like, the last time Barney did entrapment, I was like, this is Barney learning entrapment? This is literally the Wikipedia definition of entrapment, what Barney is about to do. Because he rolls into the barber shop and he says, hello, I am someone who is not a cop. I would like all of you to do crimes with me. I am soliciting you in explicit terms to do a crime with me. I am not a police officer. And they're all like, what the fuck? But that is literally, like, he does the definition of entrapment.
I really like how you went through all of that and you didn't mention that he was dressed as an old woman.
He is dressed as an old woman. I wanted to get to it in time. I wanted to make that its own thing. Because I didn't want to confuse our audience and them think, like, is the dictionary definition of entrapment you have to be dressed as a woman? No.
That's
know
separate.
the law. It's not entrapment if you're not dressed like a woman.
Okay, so Barney does Bugs Bunny this shit. He dresses like a little old lady. He figures if I can't get Emma, I'll become Emma.
Which so he walks in and he's like, I'm an old lady. And he's not doing a good job at being an old lady. And they're all like, this checks out.
Yeah, right.
Which I kind of think my theory about this is that, like, in the 1960s, they were so, like, the idea of a man or male presenting person in a dress was so alien to them that if you just walked in a dress, they'd be like, it's clearly a lady. Because why else would a man be in a dress? That's impossible. That's physically impossible.
It helps that Barney looks like an old woman.
Debatable.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not going to fight you on that. I don't see it.
Fair.
Yeah. He's not doing a good lady voice. He's like...
No.
Yeah.
But otherwise, like, I don't know, I'm fairly convincing. But yeah, no, the gamblers are just like, uh-huh.
Yeah.
Like, they don't question the old lady part. Nobody mentions, like, the dress or anything. They're just like, you are quite obviously a cop.
Yeah, this is the most cop a cop has ever been.
This old woman should retire from the police force because she's not good at this.
I'm not exaggerating at how explicit Barney is in this. Because he is like, my daughter, who is a horrible, monstrous beast, an absolute pig, won't let me gamble in the house. So I wanted to come here to do some illegal gambling. Because my daughter, who is a filthy bitch, I don't know why he's like, he really talks shit on this imaginary daughter.
Yeah.
Just goes in on this fake daughter. Won't let me do gambling in the privacy of my own home, so I need to come here to do an illegal gambling, which I think you guys might do and I want to do with you. Please take my money for some illegal gambling.
And then, like, I don't know, he could have pulled it off, except then he looks directly at the black bag, and he's like, so is that where you keep all the illegal money and illegal... And then he just dives for it.
Oh, that's some cool evidence you got.
Yeah. And then he just dives for it, and then they dive after him. And, like, would probably just straight up murder him. If not for the fact that Opie goes and squeals on it. Yeah. Like, Opie tells Andy... Hey, we saw Barney and he was dressed like an old lady and it was really fucking weird. Okay, bye.
For the most part, they were pretty chill about it. They were like, oh, Barney, you're in a dress. And he's like, get the fuck out of here. And they're like, all right, Barney's making decisions and we're not really going to judge the validity of those decisions. Which, you'd think that they would have, like, followed him around for 4 hours.
Yeah. Nope. Instead, they're just like, okay, well, you're weird. Bye.
Yeah.
And
we've come to expect this.
So, Andy comes into the barbershop in the middle of those guys just beating the shit out of Barney, basically. And while that happens, the bag, like, drops open and they drop all the money.
Yeah.
And Andy's like, well, there's my evidence. I had probable cause. Time to arrest you all. Bye.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. Like, the stinger is, Floyd talks about the guy disappearing, but he's like, this is, my favorite part is, Floyd says, I've been getting phone calls for that guy all day. And you know what? Those were for women. There was like, Tiger Lily is supposed to come in at 10 to 1, but he's not going to be here, so I'm going to take her out myself. Fucking pimp move, Floyd.
Isn't Floyd married?
Maybe.
Floyd's married.
Yeah, that's right. No. Has he mentioned kids? He's mentioned nieces and nephews.
His kid has been on the show. He tried to get his kid a record deal. And bought a bunch of shoes. Oh, maybe his wife divorced him.
Right.
Wait, no, divorce isn't a thing for another 20 years.
Yeah, no, so his wife faked her death.
His wife died and definitely didn't run off with Jim Lindsay when he was in town. Basically, Floyd is like, I'm gonna cheat on my wife this week. Hell yeah.
Except he's not, he's talking about a fucking horse.
I'm gonna cheat on my wife with a horse this week. Yeah!
You actually wrote in the notes, quote, I don't know, he says some shit.
Yeah.
End quote.
I zoned out. I always zone out during the epilogues now. Like, you were telling me that and I was hearing it for the first time.
So there we go. That's that episode. Ratings? Andy meter.
It's a 5.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah, there's nothing...
I like that we always agree on the meters.
Yeah.
Like, one of us says it first, and the other one says, that sounds right.
We've disagreed a couple times, but yeah, for the most part...
Not in a long time.
Yeah, it's season 2, baby.
We're numb.
It's fine. It's not that... I just for the sake of differentiation, I'm going to say a 4.
Yeah.
I didn't like this episode.
Barney meter. Again, this is... textbook illegal. There is no way in hell this conviction holds up in a world with any... Actually, this was before the Warren court. This might have been during... So this would have held up.
Yeah, no, this was legal at the time. Yeah. It's just shitty.
But, so this is dictionary entrapment. So
also significantly less shitty about the whole man in a dress thing than I think they would have been. Like,
that does balance out. Cause
the joke is still, haha, a man in a dress.
But I honestly think it's sort of like, they're not like homophobic or anything, but I think it's sort of like, not for good reasons. I think it's the point of like, they haven't like accepted the idea that could be a thing. Yeah. Like, so they're not like, it's like, it's not homophobic, but just because that hasn't even occurred to them yet. Mm-hmm. So I guess it doesn't really balance out. I'm gonna put this at I feel like I'm obliged to put it at an 8 just because, like, illegality.
I'm gonna say a 4 because yes, that is fucking entrapment, but it's the kind of same shit that would fly on like Brooklyn Nine-Nine or whatever. Like this is the kind of shit that like most fiction cops do.
Wait, holy shit! How many times have I watched Entrapment on Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
Oh, at least a dozen, man.
What the fuck? They definitely like show like just go up to people like, I'm a criminal. I want to do crimes. And then the guys. And then it arrests the person. They do entrapment on that show a lot.
Oh yeah, TV has no like concept of how cops should actually work, and that's why TV is so horny for cops.
How does television talk about cops so often and still doesn't understand how the like arresting people works?
I don't know.
It's insane.
I don't know. So yeah, I have to like I can't give it like fault that for too much because that's just TV cop shit.
I mean, it did ruin Brooklyn Nine-Nine for me, so I'm going to put it at an 8.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
So that's it for this episode. As always, remember, you can get at us on Twitter. We are on Twitter at Break Mayberry. I'm on Twitter at Schneid Remarks.
I'm on Twitter at The Luds.
And if you like what we're doing and you don't want to support us with money, you can share, write, give ratings and reviews. Ratings and reviews are really helpful for us to get into search results and have other people hear us. If you do want to support us with money, you can help us on Patreon, patreon.com/breakingmayberry. And if you're a Patreon subscriber, we just started a Discord channel.
Yeah.
Which is cool, where all of our subscribers come and hang out, and they can suggest episodes if you're at a certain tier for us to watch.
All of those notifications go like straight to my phone, so if you ever want to like hurt my feelings over the course of a day and you're a Patreon subscriber, you can do that now.
It's so much fun, guys.
Yeah.
Like, I do it all the time. I just text him just like, no one will ever love you. And it's been a joy. It's
the highlight of Marty's day. The cornerstone of this podcast is really animosity.
So anyway, yeah, come join our Patreon, support the show, and get into that Discord channel where we'll talk about different shows or video games or stuff. I don't know, hang with us.
And it's also a place where you can suggest episodes for bonuses, which is something we're trying to do tailored to what you guys want a little bit more. Right now it's just been like shit that we like.
Yeah.
We got a bonus episode coming up.
You're gonna make me watch anime again, right?
Unless someone in the Discord requests something specifically different, then yes, you're about to watch some more anime with the Stanford Anime Experiment.
That's fair enough.
As recommended by Jack Royce.
Okay, cool. So that's gonna be fun. That's pretty much it for us. Make sure you listen to our new theme music. Thank you again to the Brothers Rye. And listen afterwards for our brand new audio play.
The Fife Letters.
The Fife Letters. I like that. Okay, that's it for that episode. We'll see you all down at the fishing hole.
Y'all come back now.
Crooked teeth and bones, honey. Time's took its toll. Give it one more chance, darling, before we get too old. Season's over. This town's drunk dry. Pull the shades on the windows. Ain't no shame in hide. They won't know the wicked toll. Leaves falling on my shoes. Plywood on the window. Them off-season blues.
And now, a Breaking Mayberry special presentation. Barney's Day Out by Not Your Guts and Jack Royce. Starring Erotic Don Knotts. Episode 1.
Dear Andy, boy, how the time does fly. Can't believe it's been over a year since I decided to run for president of these fine United States. My time in the old District of Columbia has sure been exciting. I expect you'll want to hear the whole story, as well as I can tell it. I know the papers probably got some of it, but this is the real stuff. The sort of stuff they'll put in my biography someday. Well, anyway, here goes. might recall that Abraham Lincoln won his presidency, even though he didn't do a lick of campaigning. I figured I could do the very same. Lo and behold, if it was good enough for Honest Abe, that was good enough for Marty. You may not have known it, but I'd thrown my hat into the ring a full 6 months before Election Day. I was there at the station, doing my normal duties, in good old Mayberry the whole time. Even then, those votes came rolling in. As you already know, I set off for the Capitol when the time was a-comin'. Funny thing, though, Andy, your cousin here swept the polls in a landslide. Those Ivy League yahoos in Washington just couldn't believe a humble man of the people like me could be the president in this day and age. They were pretty determined to keep me out of that White House. Let me tell you, that incumbent imbecile brought all his best men to keep the common man from his rightful place. That big old throne. I know the love this. Joke's on him, though. I expect you read the news on this. Let me give you the real scoop. Yes, a bullet from my gun ended up in the president's skull. I will admit to that much. I swear on my mother's undug grave I wasn't aiming for him. It's just a warning shot to all those men coming for me. That warning shot just happened to hit a window. But who should be right behind that window there in that White House but the president? What luck, I thought. Well, they pinned me to the lawn. Now I don't have to convince that silly man that he lost the election. Took care of that problem lickety split, I tell you. Now my time in this cell, I've been told a few times that killing the president doesn't make you a president. I swear to you, Andy, we learned in school about some guy named Chuck Godot who had the same sort of understanding of how this country worked that I did. Did they or did they not change the rules after he mucked it up? Anyway, I anxiously await your reply. Love to you and yours, President-elect Marty 5.